we resumed our travels after we finished with the dragon. And that was where the next session began, with our arrival at this fishing village of nameless gnomes.
In Finland.
In Finland. And this was going to be hilarious, because it turns out Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls, is very serious about this whole gnome thing, her culture. She's a fundamentalist. She explained that, other gnomes think she goes overboard with this kind of stuff. So her philosophical view is that there's no such thing as nameless gnomes. They don't exist. And she will refuse to acknowledge that they exist, even if one is standing right in front of her, poking her in the face. She'll think there's a weird wind or something.
Yeah.
And so we arrived at a village full of these things. And she's like, weird, abandoned village. It's this empty village where, what's going on here,
Although she spared no expense flying in on going eagleback into the town square in a very majestic fashion, and a bunch of people were like, huh? And a couple of people like sort of straightened up and got all excited, and
there's a proper gnome here. Yeah.
I mean, this is far enough away from the actual gnomish lands that probably most of the nameless here are content to be nameless. I mean, they're part of Finland, right? They're happy being nameless, but there's always exceptions.
And we found one in spades. But for initially, we're like, okay, we got to find a place to stay in this little village. They're even too tiny to have an inn. And so they're like, well, normally travelers just stay at the town hall. We put out some billets or whatever, and you can stay at the town hall for a while.
Yeah, you can stay in the town hall if you want. Mm. We got two kinds of fish here.
I was going to get to the fish. That's a big thing, the fish.
We got blue fish and red fish.
Mm-hmm.
The blue fish are good. The red fish, they're not very good. But we eat them because when we run out of blue fish. So we just catch them all together. We can only catch them together because we don't have signs. So we just catch both the red fish and the blue fish. The blue fish are good and the red fish aren't very good.
Yeah, they went on a great length.
What kind of fish do you want?
Anyway, however, that was what the nameless gnomes got up to, and they're not important.
So while that guy was doing this,
one gnome, this young girl, she's like teenaged, she's like 17. She comes up to Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls, and she's all totally beside herself and fangirling about how it's like, oh, wonderful, most glorious and perfect and supreme, wonderful. And Shannon is just eating this up. She's like, oh, at last someone's talking to me proper. And Cricket's like, oh, I got to step up my game because I haven't been nearly obsequious enough. Apparently, this is. Yeah. If this is how she expects people to treat her, then clearly, I mean, she can't be, out kowtowed by a person.
Yeah.
Even a nameless. Still a person. But we wound up with a very weird situation because this nameless gnome totally wanted to give. She'd done up her personal room at her house. As sumptuously and as proper gnomishly as possible. As the only place in the village that's proper gnome. And so she totally wants to offer it to Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, and Shepherd of Souls.
Except that she can't hear it.
But Cricket can. And so Cricket became her interpreter, as it were.
Her medium.
Yeah. So Cricket and Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls were sort of split off from the rest of the party because the rest weren't invited.
Yeah.
This nameless gnome really wanted Serendipity, Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls.
They actually were invited initially, and it was. It doesn't matter.
I don't.
They ended up having to stay. The reason they were.
I don't think there was space for them, was it? It was just.
Just
one room.
So what happened was, I guess I'll just jump ahead slightly. She invited them to stay at her farmhouse, right?
Yeah.
And Serendipity stays in her room, the rest stay in the rest of the house. She goes up into the house, she says, wait here. She goes up into the house and to talk to her parents, and then they hear this guy shouting like, I don't want any of that gnome crap around here. Get out of here. This is crap and whatever, and has a big argument. So she comes back and is like, the rest of you will have to stay at the town hall, but Serendipity can stay in my room. Well, she said the whole name.
Oh yeah.
She would never have said not the whole name.
Yeah. Cricket made sure of it. Cricket felt comfortable, like being stern and berating to this nameless.
Yeah.
Because she was subordinate to Serendipity, Van Goldstar, the Moor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, and so she.
Shepherd of Souls.
Yeah, Shepherd of Souls. Hey, good catch. Thank you.
Has that played itself out at all?
Never. It's going to get longer throughout the campaign.
No, I know. I mean, the Shepherd of Souls. Does anything come up as a result of
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, that's still ongoing.
So essentially, it gets into the situation where both this nameless gnome, this nameless 17-year-old girl gnome, and Cricket are both fawning, trying to like outdo each other, fawning over Serendipity, which she just is enjoying greatly.
Yeah.
And Serendipity and Cricket are having this weird conversation about like what they're gonna do. Like, Cricket, I think I'll stay at this farmhouse,
this empty farmhouse,
but they have to sneak in there when her parents aren't there. So she tells them to wait, and when her dad goes out to the field, she sneaks them into her room.
It's a nice room.
And it's pretty nice. I mean, it's not, I mean, she's living on a farm in a poor fishing village, like, it's just, I mean, compared to a proper gnomish Wayne, it's pretty crappy, but like, it's impressive for her situation.
She clearly tried. And so, she goes down and she like prepares the best food she possibly can to bring to Serendipity, Van Goldstar, Moor, Slayer, the Butcher, Dragons, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd of Souls.
And Cricket and her have this sort of fight over who gets to do because she brings this hot water for like washing up in the full proper gnomish way, and she wants to do it, but Cricket sees that it's her place to do it.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have this like argument over who should get to do it, but in the end, she lets Cricket do it while she goes and makes supper. So, yeah. And
it sort of makes sense to have Cricket do all the in-room stuff and the nameless gnome do the outside stuff, because there's a lot less likely chance that they'll get caught that way. And so then, since she cooked up all this gnomish cuisine, when the parents come back, they get upset about the scent of the cooking and stuff like that.
Curry or whatever.
Yeah.
Guys just like, what in the fish piss is this in this kitchen? It smells terrible. This is garbage. Is this your gnomish crap? That's it. I'm sick and tired of this gnomish crap. I want you to take all that down from your room, and I don't want you to have anything to do with it ever again.
So
You're grounded for a week.
Yep.
You are not to leave your room.
So Cricket has to help her make a stealth check to hide in the hallway.
She doesn't feel it's appropriate to sleep in her room with Serendipity there.
Yeah. It got really strange.
Stranger?
Yeah. But then we noticed that a lot of the art that was around in this room was like imitation gnomish art. It was freshly made, fake, not fake exactly, but. And so we asked, and it turns out that this nameless gnome made it herself, and it's really good. And so she offers to do a portrait.
In the morning,
in the morning of Serendipity, Van Goldstar, Moor, Slayer, the Butcher, Brackenridge, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd of Souls. And so we had to somehow arrange for Serendipity, Van Goldstar, Moor, Slayer, the Butcher, Brackenridge, Toppler, Shepherd of Souls to sit for a portrait without acknowledging that she's sitting for a portrait.
And how did you do that?
She decided she was going to meditate that morning.
I'll just sit very quietly and still on the bed.
It's a wizard thing. But it's great because when the nameless gnome left the room, Serendipity, Van Goldstar, Moor, Slayer, the Butcher, Brackenridge, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd of Souls was perfectly willing to talk with Cricket about these nameless gnomes. Because she actually did see them,
Right.
And she decided that she could acknowledge their existence to Cricket because Cricket didn't count.
Right.
And Cricket
Not a person.
totally agree with that. Yeah, I don't count. You're like discussing it with an appliance. It's not real.
So, Toaster, about those figments of my imagination.
Yeah, but of course she can't acknowledge nameless gnomes when nameless gnomes are around.
Well, that would be
So we discussed this whole portraiture thing. And so, she started working on the portrait. It takes a long time to make a portrait. So, she only got started. That's when Serendipity Van Gogh Rosa, Bushback Ridge Tower Tower Seven Souls decided she wanted to keep her so she could finish this portrait. And also to give her an opportunity to not be a crappy fish farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to get. She thinks she's good. She should get to go to an art college.
Yeah.
So she's gonna get a name.
Yeah.
Well, that's the usual way that nameless get names, right? Like, especially like more close to the gnome lands. Like they help, they fawn, they're obsequious, and the gnomes are like, get out of my way. I don't care about you. But one might be super useful and wanted, and so be like, come along, Frederick. And then that's how they get their name, right? By an actual gnome acknowledging you by a name. And so that's that's this girl's goal. If Serendipity calls her by name, and then she has a name. She's a gnome.
So did Serendipity call her by name? Serendipity.
No, she is. Stop it. Cricket uses shut up blast. Timeless Trek. There we go. Anyway.
I think that's the bathroom.
Yeah, we should start using that. I gotta go timeless Trek at thread day.
So, meanwhile,
Porcelain in the thread.
the other party members had been hanging out in the town hall.
Eating fish.
And
Blue fish.
I'll leave it to Hank's interview to explain just how incredibly wonderful these fish are. It turns out that redfish, the local fishermen are like, yeah, it's kind of crappy fish. It's like the baseline fish. It's heavenly. And bluefish is awesome by comparison.
Oh wow!
So Hank is just like, we have found the best place in the world. This is the treasure of the world.
Yeah.
This here. I must know how to cook this fish.
Well, also Hank is really into cooking because he used to be an innkeeper's wife, right?
Yeah. yeah. He's been going on about that.
I used to be an innkeeper's wife.
Yeah.
I hate to see that family tree.
So much of their side of this whole ridiculousness was all about fish, and then they spent the night, in the town hall, and in the morning, we go over there and we tell them, hey, we got this nameless gnome, we want to keep her.
And she wants to come.
Yeah, we're not.
She wants to come. She wants to follow Serendipity.
We had to keep insisting we're not kidnapping her.
Yeah.
So we're all like, "You're going to kidnap a
We're
gnome?"
just taking her against her parents' wishes.
Yes.
Her mother did come and talk to her and try to talk her out of the gnome thing in a lot nicer way than her father, but didn't take.
It was difficult because she was hiding in the hallway at the time.
Trying to ventriloquize to be into her room.
Yeah. Cricket did what she could to help. Anyway, so we convinced the party that we should take her, but only if we can convince her parents to allow it.
Yeah, Croesus is like, if she's good at art and wants to go to an art college, that sounds like the right thing to do. As soon as we get permission from her parents.
Yep. So we all go to talk to her parents. And Aurora, I think this is where the 50 roll, because I know there was a 50 roll.
So they go in to talk to her parents, and the guy's kind of friendly. The guy's like, "Hey, what the name of fish guts are you doing here? That's weird." And I want to come in and talk about your daughter. What? All right. And they go in, and she starts talking about this art thing and going, and he's just like, "This is garbage. I don't want my daughter doing any of that gnomish crap. She's going to be a farmer, and that's all there is to it." And the wife pipes in and says, "Don't you think you're being too hard on her? I'll decide what's too hard on her. Shut up, woman."
Yeah. He's like totally stereotypical.
Yeah.
Intractable, immovable. Aurora rolls diplomacy. And she throws all her bonuses into it, and everyone helps her, and she rolls like a 19 on the die or something like that. She winds up with, I think, 54.
50, I thought it was 51. And like a hard, epic, like level 30 diplomacy check is like 42.
Yeah.
Like this is beyond epic. So I decided this is Commander Shepard level diplomacy here, right? Where, you know, they'll be like, our races have been fighting for hundreds of millennia. Have you considered peace? Of course!
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Let's dance.
So I with a 51 athletics, you can jump on a roof. So I was like, it's highly unrealistic to change this guy's mind, but this is into the highly unrealistic territory.
Yeah.
So she talks to him about it, and he's like, well, yeah, I guess she should go, and maybe I should stop being so mean to my wife. I got some soul searching to do.
Yeah. Turned his life
Thanks,
around.
Dr. Hill.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a good person from now on.
So yeah,
You're right. I've been a chauvinist all my life.
Shouldn't be so one-dimensional and stereotypical.
So they get permission.
And so then the question became, which college do we take her to? Because there's two options here. There's the Clinker College, which is actually on the way to Allenway, which the party doesn't know we're going towards, but they're asking Cricket, which way should we go? And so she says, well, we could go that way, and that's the quicker way, or there is this Wayan, which has an art college. Clinker College is just like a generalist college.
Yeah.
It's nameless. It's a nameless college.
It's community college. Whereas there's this Wayan that has this prestigious art academy that's run by named gnomes, proper gnomes, and stuff like that. And it's like it's still a day away, I think, but it was like in a different direction. So
but
then
with that spell, it should fly at 5 times the speed.
Yeah,
I've got almost anything's a day away.
Yeah, I've got this ritual that makes our eagles like ridiculously fast for overland travel now. I just picked it up, so we can do that, but it'll add an extra day or two to our trip to Allenway. And we had this huge debate about which one we should take her to, and it wasn't just the timing. I think the timing was like almost irrelevant. It was all about what's best for this NPC, and is it right to induct her into this culture that's an awful culture. Sorry, serendipity Bengal Star North Tower Shepherd Souls, but it is.
The more
like, yes, it totally is. You shouldn't trust gnomes. We should go to the Clinker College.
Yeah, the more they encounter other gnomes, the more they realize that serendipity is a particularly nice and good gnome.
Yes. And so we wound up with a vote. And of course, it wound up being evenly split. And I think, how did we eventually decide it? I think it was Aurora.
The girl herself wanted to go to the gnomish college.
Yeah, we decided maybe we should give her a
named.
vote. She might deserve a vote. So
yeah.
Yeah. And so we're gonna go to the weigh-in one,
which is interesting because serendipity was super excited. She was trying to hide it, but she seemed kind of excited to bypass the gnome lands.
Yeah.
And a little bit, that was one of her hesitancies going back there. So.
Yeah. But we're tough, so whatever comes our way.
Give her name?
No,
Not yet.
she hasn't earned it yet.
Also, she wants to.
Probably when the portrait's done.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. The naming will be when she signs
Yeah.
the portrait. I guess. I don't know. It's not my call.
Yeah, part of it too is
Von Funkelstein.
until you come of age, you like gnomish children wear like these symbolic shackles and a symbolic mask to show they're protected.
Shackles?
Yeah, to show they're protected by their parents, so you can't unname them. You can only, if you harm them, you harm their parents. You can't unname them specifically, and so she proposed adopting this girl, and so she'll go to the art college until she's 18 or whatever the age is. She'll be she can wear these symbolic shackles and be protected by Serendipity's name. And she was fine with that. So I don't know if she'll actually get a name until she takes the shackles off. Because technically gnomish children haven't gotten their names yet. They have a naming ceremony when they come of age.
Yeah. And that's where the session ended. We spent the whole session basically deciding, to send this name gnome to college.
What was the point of going to this fishing village?
It was
It
on
was
the
a
way.
stop on
It
the
was-
way to where they were going.
It was when we got to the shore, we had to stop somewhere. And we checked to make sure that there were no maps of any of the buildings we went into, so we knew nothing bad was going to happen.
Well, part of that was because I couldn't get the computer to hook up to the TV screen. So, although there wasn't any maps,
Yeah.
but you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I just like that you guys, a day prior, down a giant solo dragon.
Yeah.
You're like, we should help a lady or a girl fulfill her dream.
Yeah, this random
Epic encounters
literally-
on either side.
a random, literally nameless NPC.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah,
nameless.
I like the nameless lands. Like, none of this. Like, oh, what's this NPC's name? What's this NPC's name? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have names.
One of the things that I used to try was trying to get Robin on the side of taking, because I personally think she'd do better in the weigh-ins. Cricket, of course, studiously has no opinion until Croesus ordered her to have an opinion.
that was interesting. I forgot about that whole part.
Yeah,
because they were debating.
Cricket was like, I don't have an opinion, and so Croesus was like, have one. She's like, all right.
Yeah, and then they got into this big debate about what makes a person,
Yeah.
and like about
Our typical that comes up every couple
about
sessions.
like choice and duty and what and morality.
Self-determination.
And
Back to talking about Mithrin Day.
Yeah.
Duty.
Yeah.
yeah, they spent a lot of time like Cricket and Croesus spent a bunch of time debating philosophy.
Yeah.
And of course, only because Croesus ordered Cricket to have an opinion, and then she disagreed with him vehemently.
Yeah.
And then
so
later asked, "Can I stop having an opinion?" No.
But one of the things arguments I use to try and convince Robin to have Aurora support the weigh-in thing is that way our party would go to a place where every random NPC we meet, John would have to come up with a name 18 syllables long for.
Yeah, trying to get their revenge.
Yeah, so we got him good there.
Yeah.
Just figure out an in-character reason why you'd support this. It's worth it.
This nameless village has the best fish I have ever tasted in my life. And that was just the red fish. The blue fish, that was a borderline transcendent experience. I can't even describe how amazingly delicious that fish was. And I just want more. Well, if I indulge myself too much, that'll be bad. I gotta watch my weight after all. But it's a shame they were out of bluefish to buy. But I bought a bunch of redfish, and I'm gonna cook it because I know how to cook it. They taught me how to cook it, and I'm a good cook because I used to be an innkeeper's wife. And I'm gonna share it with my friends. I'm gonna make them some of this fish, and it's exciting. I hope we can visit here again and get more fish another time. And although it might be warranted if we're helping this nameless girl who, I don't know if we're taking her to Clanker College or the Gnome Lands. But yeah, that's a complicated situation. I won't bore you with the details because I'm sure everybody else is going to. But fish, man. Oh, that stuff is so good. And I got some salted fish, which, as far as salted fish goes, it's pretty good, but man, nothing beats that bluefish. Sorry, I'm probably going to be obsessed with that for a little while. It's just, I can't believe how amazing that was. And they said the redfish wasn't even very good. Well, I guess that kind of shows the humility of the Nameless.
Cricket, I have a plan. So, we will take this nameless girl that we have discovered, and she is really artistically talented.
Oh, I agree.
Too talented just to stay here. So, we should take her and make sure she gets schooling in art so she can realize her potential.
Oh, certainly.
Unfortunately, I think the best school in art is in the Gnome Lands.
You are sadly correct and oh so insightful.
Thank you, but I don't think you would know that.
But it's true.
It's going to be tricky. I'll have to extend my protection over her and give her a name, but if hopefully my protection, that the protection that my name provides her, will be enough.
Oh, I'm sure that your protection will extend like an impenetrable shield.
I hope so, Cricket. And really, that's a little too much.
Oh, okay, I'll dial it back a bit.
Remember,
so
we're
sorry.
friends.
Sorry. Of course. My apologies. I'll dial it back.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you are so insightful.
Cricket!
Dear Diary, I noticed today when we were talking about going to the Gnomish lands, I noticed that my friend Serendipity, she seems... Well, both she wants to go there for the benefit of this person she won't acknowledge, but also she seems hesitant to go there. And I don't really understand that. You'd think she'd be excited to go back to her people. And where there's others as sophisticated as her, etc. I'm wondering what's going on. I'm thinking maybe she's had a bad experience and she just doesn't want to talk about it. I don't recall her ever bringing it up before. I hope she's okay. I hope that there's nothing wrong, or that she's a wanted criminal or something, or that she has some kind of catchy disease that we don't know about, or that... Oh, Aurora, stop it. You're jumping to conclusions. I've just not been myself lately. I'm just constantly thinking about my brother. It's so distracting. I feel like my soul is crying.
I remember we'd found out that they had captives, and we'd sworn to do something about it. It was kind of like a castle, sort of, except parts of it were alive, and there were a goblin in it, and they'd caught a whole bunch of sprites, I think they're called, little pixie critters with wings, and they were doing things to them because they do that. Goblin and things. There were always things down there, just things. Always changing. And one of the things I like about this dream now is that there aren't always things. Like, we killed a dragon, and it was a dragon, and we fought it, and it stayed a dragon. And it nearly killed me, and I almost died because it sucked all the water out of my body, but after we killed it, it stayed a dragon, and that was great. Anyhow, Kem had a plan, and it was a good plan, and it worked. And we snuck in all the way to where they were keeping the little pixies, and we smashed the cage open and killed the goblin guards, and the thing they had, it had mouths. Ugh. Lots of mouths. And they scattered like little stars all over the room and out the windows, and one of them hung right in front of my face. And I asked her who she was, and she said, "I'm Stacia." Anyhow, I thought about, because That little gnome was so happy. Kind of reminded me of her.
Well, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what level of obsequiousness and kowtowing is appropriate for me to give Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, and Shepherd of Souls. I mean, she has seemed quite pleased with my behavior previously, so that's a good baseline. But now we've met this nameless gnome, and she's been, for lack of a better term,
I got you a letter!
kicking it up a notch. And so obviously I can't allow that. I obviously can't prevent that, but I can't allow that to be the new baseline and not be more obsequious than that. I am of course lesser even than a nameless gnome, even though Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, and Shepherd of Souls won't acknowledge nameless gnomes, but will acknowledge me. So maybe I'm not? No, that doesn't make sense either. This nameless gnome is a nameless person, and I'm less than that. So confusing. Well, I suppose I shall continue to do my best to adapt. I will vary my level of obsequiousness. And we'll see what suits Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor, Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Towers, and Shepherd of Souls the best.